for many of you, when you hear something out of a liberal's mouth, when you hear, oh, the Canadian economy is doing great, it's growing, it's wonderful, you're like, well, that's not what my experience has been. There's been so many Canadians who have lost their jobs, or are having trouble finding work, or have lost income and are struggling to make ends meet with inflation. So to hear that the Canadian economy is doing good, or doing well, out of the lips of Justin Trudeau, many of you are like, no, that can't be true. Well, today, the Toronto Star published an article that really exposes this lie. And I want to break it down for you. So the article, the headline is this. It says, almost all new jobs created during the pandemic were in the public sector, report finds. So what does that mean? It means that most of the jobs that were created in the economy, were government jobs. And that means that they're jobs that are created with what? Money, public funds, right? So they're not jobs that have been created by private sector, or like the companies that are investing in the economy through private sector. No, these are jobs that have been created through government deficit or debt spending. So the article goes on to say this, and this is where the lie is really exposed, Justin Trudeau's lie that the economy is doing well. The public sector accounted for 86.7% of all net new jobs created since the pandemic. So what that means is the job growth, when Justin Trudeau is talking about job growth, or you're seeing like these job numbers come out in the Financial Post or whatever, it's actually government jobs. These aren't jobs that are creating wealth for the country. These are jobs that are drawing on government spending, that are costing you as the taxpayer money. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of economics here this morning, so that when you're talking to somebody who's like, oh no, Justin Trudeau said the economy's growing, it's doing really well, you can actually push back. So for those of you who have never taken an economics course in your life, I want to explain to you how something called gross domestic product is calculated. So this is, of course, the total demand for domestic output. This is called the expenditure method for calculating gross domestic product. And this is what economists talk about the health of the economy. I'll be really quick here. There's a bunch of components for how this is calculated, but a key part of that is what? It's government purchases of goods and services. So when people are talking about the economy growing and they're using this way of calculating that growth, they're including what? They're including all of these jobs. 86.7% of the jobs created in Canada are actually created by your tax dollars that we don't even have. It's just going on the debt. It's going on the credit card. So think about how big this lie is. Justin Trudeau, when he says the economy is growing, he's pointing towards job growth. 86.7% of these jobs have been created by government spending. These jobs have been created through deficit spending for the most part, right? So that means that these jobs are being created by essentially racking up credit card bills that now, with these higher interest rates, are costing you more to pay the interest payments on as a taxpayer. That's really unhealthy for the Canadian economy. And this is why a lot of people, a lot of economists actually talk about how calculating economic output, or the GDP, we should have a new form of calculating that, because it actually, this isn't real growth, right? And anybody who's telling you that government jobs create real growth, the private sector, we all know that. If you are a small business owner, if you are making expenditures into jobs, you're the one who's growing the economy, right? You're creating, and what this is, we've just added 86.7% of the jobs in Canada have been government employees, which many government employees do what? They enforce regulation, they add new regulations, right? Which often makes it harder for businesses to operate. There's another interesting point in this report that I also think exposes the government's, the liberal lie that the economy is doing well, and it talks about how the number of self-employed workers have significantly decreased. So self-employment is down 7.4% from pre-pandemic levels. That's a really huge percentage. So a bunch of people, maybe this is you watching this, if you had a small business, or you were working from home, or you were doing so, those people have said, no, we're not doing this anymore. They've either had to close up shop, or they're doing something else. That's really concerning. That's a huge huge concern that the government should be all over. Justin Trudeau should be saying, look, we see this. This is something that we've got to fix. This is a really bad thing for job growth in the economy. But no, he continues to lie. Oh, everything's fine. It's like that meme of the dog sitting in the burning kitchen, except it's Justin Trudeau. Everything's fine. The economy is growing. No, it's not. Because 86.7% of the jobs created in Canada were government jobs. They're not wealth creating jobs. They're wealth draining jobs, right? So God bless you if you work for the government. That is fine. I'm sitting here in downtown Ottawa today. But the point is that Justin Trudeau is lying to the Canadian public when he's saying that the economy is okay. Because these numbers, like if we were just going off of private sector job growth, we've got a big, huge problem in this country. And that's why it's so important to hold the Liberals to account on things like inflation, right? The cost of goods and services going up, on things like complicated regulations, more red tape, the things that stop Canadians from creating jobs, and also the lack of competitiveness, so that because Canada is not attracting capital from other countries in the same way that it did before. And that's a huge problem for everybody in this country, and that's what Justin Trudeau needs to be focusing on. So I ask you to share this video. It's a bit of an explainer, but if any Liberal is telling you that the Canadian economy is healthy, this report here, and it's in the Toronto Star, really shows a key concerning metric that proves otherwise. If the Canadian economy was really healthy, this would not be the number here. Working hard for you in Ottawa. Share this video. Have a great day.